Gratiot County. So this includes anyone north of Ashley, just to the north of M57 and east of US 127. This one is as well until 11:45. We have 2 areas of rotation, which I'll zoom in on here momentarily once we get back over to our velocity on our Doppler radar. But as we were mentioning just a few moments ago, we had those 2 areas of rotation. This one potentially becoming a little bit more significant. So that rotation is becoming a little bit tighter right here towards South Ransom Road, as well as South Wisner Road, East Buchanan Road, just outside of North Star, and this is just to the north of Ashley. So if you live near Sickles, Edgewood, as well as potentially jumping out here towards Marion Springs, Fordney, and this would be as you get into portions of Saginaw County, we are seeing that rotation that is starting to tighten up a little bit more, and that's why they have issued a second tornado warning here in Gratiot County right now. It's one that we are going to be very closely watching, potentially as it jumps into Saginaw County towards 11:45 and beyond that, to potentially cause some damage from not only winds, hail, but also the tornado risk right now. The most significant rotation that we have with this storm is we have those inbound going towards the radar, outbound away from the radar. That's that area of rotation, that tighter rotation near East Buchanan Road, South Ransom Road, South Wisner Road, just to the south of East Washington Road. So this is right around Edgewood. If I mention any of those state roads and also those roads that will be happening in and around your community, you should be seeking shelter immediately, getting into that lowest interior room, staying away from any of those exterior walls and windows. It's nighttime. We have a lot of rain, a lot of lightning. You wouldn't be able to see this tornado if it was on the ground right now, potentially producing damage and causing some of that damage. So you want to get into those tornado precautions immediately as soon as you possibly can. Basement would be the spot that you are going to be as safe as possible, as well as any of those interior rooms. Put as many walls in between you and the exterior as possible. Get away from any of those windows and doors, and make sure you are staying as safe as possible. Jumping back over to this storm that was tornado warned and that continues to remain tornado warned. It's right around the Pompeii area that we have that area of rotation. So anyone in and around Pompeii, you need to be getting into those tornado precaution areas, and that tornado precaution, preferably a basement, but again, any exterior room. Could even be a closet or a bathroom that doesn't have any exterior walls that would be going into the outside, and also any of those windows that potentially could put you at risk for flying debris as this storm continues to remain somewhat strong and somewhat indicative of a tornado that is potentially being produced, or one that could quickly develop here with this area of rotation, the greens and the reds indicating that just off to the north of Ashley. I'm going to jump back over to our debris tracker. There's nothing on this debris tracker that I'm necessarily looking at that would indicate maybe some of that flying debris being lofted by either of these storms. Doesn't mean a tornado is not on the ground, because we are far removed from that radar in Grand Rapids, that this beam may be actually going over top of some of that debris. So still a possibility that there is a tornado on the ground right around Fulton, as well as just to the north of Ashley, where we have these 2 tornado warnings that have been issued. We'll jump back into our warnings right now. There is that one that is into central and eastern Gratiot County. This one is until 11:45, and we also have our southern extent, that southern tornado warning that includes the city of Ashley as well as Fulton, right along M57 Pompeii. We knew that that rotation was right over top of you and right overhead, and this could be moving towards Ashley here very quickly, right around South Badgley Road, US 127, as well as M57 for these tornado warnings. There's also a tornado warning down here in central Clinton County, and that's one that we are watching for potentially Shiawassee County as we get closer to the top of the hour. That would be closer to midnight. So both of these tornado warning areas, we are closely monitoring for them to potentially even strengthen and jump into Saginaw and also Shiawassee County. So if you live in southern Saginaw County as well as most of Shiawassee County, be weather aware. Be sure you are monitoring these storms as they are both both tornado warn, and if they maintain their strength, which is definitely a possibility as we are warm and humid enough that we could see a continuation of these tornado warnings into your communities and also your counties as well. So both of these were issued closer to the bottom of the hour, which was closer to about 11 p.m. We are continuing to monitor both of them, which are in effect until 11:45 here for portions of Gratiot County. This is southern and eastern Gratiot County, where we have both of these tornado warnings. It may look like one, but these are actually two tornado warnings. The central one is for that area of rotation just to the north of Ashley, and the second one is down in southern Gratiot County. This is for that rotation that is near the Pompey area that will continue to likely move closer and closer to Ashley. So if you live in Ashley, you're hearing us right now. There is some rotation that is involved with that first storm that is moving closer to the area, and then we also have this area of maybe some more broad rotation, but still rotation nonetheless, that is moving towards Edgewood. This is right around East Buchanan, and you may see those colors jumping a little bit. It's because we're going in between the Grand Rapids radar and also the Detroit radar, so it's giving us two different looks at this storm in particular. This one is from the Detroit radar, not as great of a look because we are far away and far removed from that radar. Same with the Grand Rapids, since we are kind of jumping in between. So this area of rotation, it is fairly elevated into the storm. Doesn't mean a tornado warning or a tornado could not happen in this tornado warning, but it's something that we are also continuing to monitor because it is very broad rotation that's happening right here around East Buchanan Road and just right around Edgewood and Sickles. There could also be some larger hail up to the size of pennies, dimes, maybe even quarters that are happening in between East Washington and East Buchanan Road, as well as that rotation that continues to highlight the risk of a potential tornado. Further to the south, we still have that area of broad rotation right around Pompey, Ashley. So anyone around Ashley, Pompey, M57 towards US 127 Bannister, you should be in your tornado precautions right now. Anyone around East Garfield Road, South Blair Road, South Wisner Road, as well as South Ransom Road, M57 as we've been mentioning, down here towards South Berry Road, as well as South Mason Road, East Wilson Road. Make sure you are getting into those tornado precautions right now because we have a couple areas of rotation that we are very closely monitoring and watching in this large complex of showers and thunderstorms that right now have several tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings associated with it. Now, of course, it's in more of that warmer, more humid air because as you go further away from these storms, there's not much happening across most of our area. The closer you are to Lake Huron, the colder you are, and the more likely that you are going to stay on the sub-severe side. So it's really our southwestern and central communities that we are watching for the potential of these stronger storms that could produce anything from an isolated tornado like we are seeing with both of these cells in Clinton and also Gratiot counties, but also some damaging winds and potentially some larger hailstones, which can also do damage on top of these tornado warned storms. So that's the lay of the land right now. We're going to continue to monitor these two cells right here that are tornado warned. Both of them are until 11:45. If you live in southern Saginaw County, you're not under a tornado warning just yet, but this includes Lakefield, St. Charles, towards Spalding, Albee, Chesaning, Chapman, as well as maybe even over here towards Birch Run, Frankenmuth, Montrose, Vienna, as well as down here into Shiawassee County, Rush, Owasso, Bennington, towards Vernon, Interstate 69, M52, M21, M71, as well as towards M13. Make sure you're closely monitoring these storms. You're not under a warning just yet, but if these storms maintain their strength, they would eventually move into your area, your community, and there could be additional tornado warnings that are issued as a result if we continue to see those areas of rotation like we are right now. So that's what's happening with these two tornado warnings, at least in our area. The northern one is until 11:45 local time. This includes everyone north of Ashley, and then also this southern tornado warning that is also until 11:45. Both of these tornado warnings for radar indicated rotation. So nothing that is potentially on the ground that they are seeing doing damage, but still nonetheless, anything radar indicated, because it is so far away from the radar, the potentially could still cause some damage. As we were mentioning, we do have a newly issued tornado warning here now in Saginaw County. This includes St. Charles as well as Hemlock. This is now until 12:15 local time, so we're going to continue with these tornado warnings until there are none. So we are taking over our current 11 o'clock show here on NBC 25, and we are also with you on Fox 66 right now, as well as on Facebook and YouTube with these tornado warnings. If you're just joining us because you saw the warning come onto your phone here in Saginaw County, we have been streaming for the last 20 to 25 minutes and also going live on NBC and also Fox with these tornado warnings. This newly issued tornado warning coming out of the Detroit office. It is a radar indicated tornado warning because these storms are pretty far removed from the radar. We're not getting a good picture at any debris, but that doesn't mean that the rotation that is happening right now on our radar systems is not producing a tornado. There's just not really any signs currently that it is on the ground causing damage. Doesn't mean it's not happening, and that's why they have gone with this tornado warning here in Saginaw County. I'll go through the various cities and also some of the roads that are under this tornado warning. So this includes anyone along M46 from Hemlock over towards Thomas. This includes M58 towards Midland Road. Down to the south, we have Orr, Swan Creek, James, Roosevelt, Lakefield, down through M52, St. Charles, Fordney, Marion Springs, Brant, Graveton, Luce, as well as Clausdale. All of you are under this tornado warning for radar indicated rotation, and this tornado warning is happening until 12:15 here local time. So that gets us into the early morning hours of our Wednesday. Now, the storm is coming out of currently Gratiot County right now, and that's where we continue to have those two tornado warnings until 11:45 local time. We also have a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning here in Clinton County, as well as this continued tornado warning near St. John's, Victor, and Ovid. So anybody in Shiawassee County should be monitoring that storm as well. You may also end up being included in a severe thunderstorm warning or potentially even a tornado warning as we are seeing these storms stacking up and starting to rotate right around that warm front, as a result of some of the colder air coming off of Lake Huron, butting up with the warmer, more humid air that's continuing to be pushed in from the south and the southwest as a result of this storm system continuing to move on in from the west. So here's our area of rotation that we are very closely watching right now coming out of Gratiot County that eventually will jump the county line into Saginaw County. It's right around the Edgewood Southeast County Line Road, as well as South Venmore Road, just outside of Fordney, Grabowski Road, and I apologize if I'm messing up any of these roads. We're trying to get just as many of these roads, communities as we can on our radar system that I can shout out just in case you are in the path of this tornado-warned storm right around Lafayette, Lakefield in Saginaw County. So again, if you're just joining us, we have a newly issued tornado warning in Saginaw County, South Chapin Road, East Town Line Road, or West Town Line Road, should I say, Fordney, West Brent Road towards Brent, South Hemlock Road, South Fenmore Road towards South County Line, which is the road that takes us out of Gratiot County and into Saginaw County. So right along the county line near Edgewood and also Fordney, this is where we have that area of rotation. Since we are now jumping into the Detroit radar, which is off to the east of this shot, we are seeing those outbound, so the reds coming through right here, and the greens also going towards the radar. So that's where our area of rotation is right now, just moved out of Edgewood, now moving towards Southeast County Line Road, towards the Fordney area, as well as South Chapin Road and South Fenmore Road here in Saginaw County. So that's where we have our storm currently. There is also that tornado warning that is down further to the south in southern Shiawassee, or southern Gratiot County, should I say. But that area of rotation a little bit weaker. So still maybe some broad rotation right around the Ashley area up towards North Star and Edgewood. Maybe a secondary area of rotation that could be forming here outside of Ashley, Fenmore, and Bannister, which is why we do have both areas in southern and also central Saginaw County under those tornado warnings right now. So This area will continue to monitor for the potential of a tornado. Again, if you are just joining us and you have that tornado warning issued in Saginaw County, you saw or heard the alert come to your phone, we are tracking that storm right now live here on Fox 66, NBC 25, as well as Facebook and also YouTube. So if you lose power and you don't have a way to turn on your TV, you can always jump on our various social medias. We have YouTube, we have Facebook that we are streaming to live right now. For these storms that are continuing to rotate here towards Edgewood and just outside of Fordney, as well as south of Lafayette, south of Lakefield, and north of Marion Springs. That's where we have that area of rotation that is becoming maybe a little bit more significant, as well as some rotation a little bit broader, but still rotation nonetheless right outside of Ashley. So along M57, this storm is going to be moving off to the east, and these storms are moving at about 40 to 45 miles per hour off to the east. So both of these areas of rotation we are closely monitoring right now, and that's what prompted the National Weather Service to issue that tornado warning here in portions of Shiawassee, as well as, or should I say, there is a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning in Shiawassee, no tornado warning in Shiawassee, but Saginaw as well as Gratiot counties here in mid-Michigan, and then there is a broad overarching severe thunderstorm warning for all of Saginaw County and all of Shiawassee County that has just been issued by the National Weather Service. This is for that rotation, so a tornado possible, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and also quarter-sized hail. So if you're not near those areas of rotation, you could still be hit hard by these storms as they are quickly moving off to the east right now at about 40 to 45 miles per hour, and even in some cases 50 miles per hour with these storms right now. Again, anybody under that severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-sized hail possible, but then we also have our tornado warning that is coming out of Shiawassee, or should I say coming out of Gratiot County. We may be included in a tornado warning here in Shiawassee County. Time will tell, because we have two polygons, two of those tornado warnings in Clinton County, just off to your west. We'll see if that's expanded into Shiawassee County, a little bit more of a localized polygon with these tornado warnings, because we definitely have a better idea of where that rotation is happening right now. So the National Weather Service can lock in on a tighter area that would give you more of an indication that a tornado warning or a tornado is possible, which is why they have issued that tornado warning right now. So a severe thunderstorm warning for all of Saginaw County and all of Shiawassee County, a tornado warning in Saginaw as well as Gratiot counties, and we're going to be watching the storm coming out of Clinton to potentially include parts of Shiawassee County in a tornado warning. Let's jump back into that tornado warning right now. We'll go back into the velocity that is pretty significant potentially right here. This is moving towards just to the north of Fordney. This is not the greatest look on radar that we want to see. We definitely have a tighter area of rotation, those greens going towards the radar, red going away from the radar, and this is right along South Chapman Road, right along West Townline Road, as well as South Hemlock Road, and this is going to be moving towards the St. Charles area. Last year we had that tornado in St. Charles. This may be sort of a concern or maybe an area of nervousness for you, so we want to make sure those in and around St. Charles, I know we've been hit hard by these storms the last couple of years. We want to make sure that you are keeping this storm in your mind, that it could potentially bring some damage to your community because we do have that area of rotation that is happening right around South Chapman Road, and this is going to be moving towards St. Charles at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a track on this area of rotation. This is the main reason that we do have this tornado warning in effect right now for parts of Saginaw County, and we've been on air now tracking these tornadoes for the last 36 minutes, and we've been on Facebook and YouTube as well. This is going to be moving off to the east. I'll give it the next 15 minutes or so, moving off to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So that puts us into St. Charles at about 11:44 and over towards Clausdale at 11:49. This is going to move towards Brent, going to move towards Roseville potentially, or Roosevelt, excuse me for messing that city up, but Roosevelt, we are going to potentially see this area of rotation moving closer and closer to you. So these two areas of rotation that we are very closely monitoring, even some broad rotation that may be happening down here towards Marion Springs, and then down to the south, this is mainly becoming potentially more of a wind threat as it moves closer to Shiawassee County, but any area of extra spin, extra rotation, we are definitely closely monitoring here into parts of Saginaw County, County, as well as maybe even some of that rotation that is now moving closer to Shiawassee County. So we do have that area of rotation. It's a little bit stronger, as we mentioned, just outside of St. Charles right now. That area of rotation that is becoming a little bit tighter and a little bit more significant on our radar right along West Town Line Road. That's going to be moving east into the city of St. Charles potentially. And anyone around M52, around West Town Line Road, around South Hemlock Road, as well as near Roosevelt, and maybe even jumping over M52 if it maintains its strength towards James and Clausdale. You guys need to be on high alert getting into those tornado precautions. The lowest interior room that you have in your home or wherever you may be, basement is preferred, and make sure you bring something to protect you from any flying debris. That could be a blanket, that could be a baseball helmet, a bike helmet, a pillow, just anything that can keep you safe in case there is a tornado on the ground potentially causing damage right now. So that area of rotation, as we mentioned, just to the north of Fordney, it is moving east towards St. Charles. So anybody in and around St. Charles, make sure you are taking this storm very seriously. We also have this area of rotation that's down right around the Ovid-Price area. This may jump eventually into Shiawassee County if it's able to maintain its strength. We, of course, would potentially see that tornado warning extended into Shiawassee County. Has not happened just yet, but it's something that we are very closely monitoring and watching. We do have a broad area of severe thunderstorm warnings happening from Saginaw down through Shiawassee, as well as that tornado warning box here in Saginaw County, and that is until 12:15 local time for that area of rotation that we are seeing just outside, just to the west of St. Charles. So if you live in St. Charles, make sure you are getting into those tornado precautions immediately. You have only a couple more minutes before the worst of the storm is potentially overhead and over your area, which could definitely bring some damage as a result of this area of rotation, as well as maybe some stronger winds up to 60 miles per hour, and maybe even some of that quarter-sized hail as well. I'm taking a look at radar outside of my current system that you are seeing right now, and there is definitely some potentially significant wind that is coming out of these storms as well, which is why we have those severe thunderstorm warnings. And as you just saw, we have a newly issued tornado warning. So again, we have those areas of embedded rotation to go along with some of these stronger damaging wind potential, and we have that newly issued tornado warning here into portions of southern and central Shiawassee County right now. So if you live in Shiawassee County, you're hearing the tornado sirens, you got that alert that was sent to your phone. That tornado warning has now been issued just to the south of Owasso. This is for Bennington, Vernon, Bancroft, Antrim, Perry, as well as Burns, M52, Interstate 69, as well as portions of M71. We'll go a little bit closer. This is for Scioto, Pittsburgh, Shiawassee, as well as Durand. We mentioned Antrim, as well as Perry and Burns. Woodhull also included in this tornado warning. So that's a newly issued tornado warning because of that rotation that's coming out of Clinton County. This is until 12:30 local time, and it is for a potential tornado radar indicated rotation, and this is moving at 55 miles per hour. So very quick moving storms. You won't have a whole lot of time to get into those tornado precautions, that tornado shelter, which is preferably a basement. But if you don't have a basement, make sure you are putting as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. I'm going to take 1 second to get a quick drink of water, and I will be right back in just a moment. All right, if you are just joining us, if you heard the tornado sirens in your community because of these two tornado warnings for Shiawassee and also Saginaw County, we have them newly issued, especially this one in southern Shiawassee County. Because of the area rotation that is coming out of Clinton County right now, that is tornado warned towards St. John's, as well as US 127. That is jumping over the county line right now, and that's why we have this newly issued tornado warning here for parts of southern and central Shiawassee County. This is just to the south of Owasso. So at least that's where the area of greatest rotation is right now. But the rest of the county, including all of Saginaw County as well, under severe thunderstorm warnings, could be some large hail up to the size of quarters and also 60-mile-per-hour winds. So I'm going to jump back over to our velocity, show you where that area of rotation is strongest right now. We're starting to see some of that rotation happening right here towards Westchester Heights, Victor. Now this is in Clinton County, so it is eventually going to jump over into into Shiawassee County, and this would be around the Scioto, Bennington, Pittsburgh area within the next 5 to 10 minutes. So if I just mention your community, or if you live around any of those communities, make sure you are getting into your tornado precautions immediately, because that's where we have that area of rotation. We also have some of that rotation still happening up here towards the St. Charles area, Roosevelt, as well as M52, South Hemlock Road, South Town Line Road, but we may even be seeing some broad rotation down here towards Marion Springs. So anyone in these tornado warnings, just know these tornadoes can spin up very quickly. We have a lot of rotation in the area and in the atmosphere. We've had some serious heat and humidity today, which is fueling these showers and storms. So anytime these storms latch onto a boundary, we have the warm front in the area because it's a lot colder off to our north and to our east, closer to Lake Huron. So anytime these storms can latch onto those boundaries, it gives them some enhanced rotation, which would potentially lead to a tornado forming and causing damage, which is why we have so many areas along this line that are potentially rotating right now, and that's why we have the various tornado warnings that are in effect currently. So our first area of rotation that we are very closely monitoring, we've been going back and forth with it over the last 40 to 45 minutes, is right around the intersection of West Town Line Road and South Hemlock Road. So Roosevelt, M52, St. Charles, we're continuing to highlight you for the potential of this rotation overhead that could cause damage. So get into those tornado precautions. Lowest interior room, bring something to protect you, a blanket, a pillow, a bike helmet, something that can cover your head in case there is flying debris. Get away from any of those exterior walls and windows as this potential tornado is bearing down on your area. We have some minor rotation potentially here around Marion Springs, Racy towards Emlock Road, as well as Brant, West Brant Road. So anybody in that region should also be taking those tornado precautions. But if you're in this tornado warning, if you have the tornado warning that was sent to your phone, or you're hearing the tornado sirens, make sure you're getting away from those exterior walls and windows. That's the safest place you can be, in that exterior room. As many walls in between the outside and you as possible. This one is particularly ominous and may be what we are watching for the potential of more significant tornado. That would be our tornado warning here into Shiawassee County, now over Scioto. So we mentioned you guys a couple minutes ago. Hopefully you got into your tornado precautions, because we definitely have that area of rotation. You can see even what looks like a potential hook echo right here. That's that area of more significant rotation with this storm as it is surging off to the east. So right around Scioto, you should be in your tornado precautions if you are not already. That lowest interior room, preferably a basement. But if you live in Bennington as well as Pittsburgh, M52, you need to be taking this storm very seriously. There's a lot of rotation that is happening right here with this storm that potentially could cause damage if you are not taking this seriously, and if you are not in your tornado precautions, you could potentially be harmed or hurt by this storm and by some of that flying debris. That includes anyone around West Grand River Road into Pittsburgh, South Maurice Road, as well as West Bennington Road in and around Bennington, M52. So this area we are very closely watching because of that rotation. We have some stronger winds that are also coming out of this storm, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible along any portion of this line. And then we have that rotation that is still happening right here towards St. Charles, M52, Roosevelt. This may jump over towards James and Clausdale, as well as moving out of the Beaver Road area here over the next 5 to 10 minutes. So several areas of rotation that we are very closely watching and monitoring, but it's this one down here in Shiawassee County that looks a little bit worse, a little bit more ominous, and I'm kind of going back and forth between these various computer screens that I have here just to see where the worst of the rotation is right now. Even if you're not under that area of rotation that I've been mentioning, there are still some pretty significant winds that could potentially be coming out of this storm. Some 60-mile-per-hour winds not out of the question with any of these storms that are quickly moving out of West Michigan here into mid-Michigan, and that's why we have those severe thunderstorm warnings as well. There is another area of rotation that we've been watching. This one is going to be, and as we mentioned, near the Brant area, and that's going to be as we jump back up here into Saginaw County. It doesn't look like much, but we do have that area of rotation that is just outside of Chapman. That's going to be north of here towards the Brant area. this area of rotation is definitely getting a little bit more significant on our radar system. So you can see that area of rotation right here. It is going to continue to move off to the east. So Groveton, maybe even south of St. Charles, just to the north of Chesaning, you should be getting into your tornado precautions because that area of rotation is looking a little bit more significant on our various radar systems that we are watching right now, as well as that rotation that is just to the north of St. Charles. So I'm going to actually go through and I'm going to go from north to south where we are seeing that rotation. If you are under a tornado warning, get into those tornado precautions. Lowest interior room, a basement is preferred. That's going to be where you are safest. But if you don't have a basement, get into a bathroom, a hall closet. Make sure you just have as many walls in between you and the exterior and the outside of your home or wherever you may be as possible. You may be hearing some of the rainfall on top of our studio. We are in Genesee County, so we're not necessarily worried about anything out here just yet. So if you live in Flint, in and around Flint, nothing for you quite yet. But these storms are quickly approaching from the west, so make sure you are tuned in and weather aware here this evening. We were mentioning it when we had that tornado warning or that tornado watch that was issued for us just a few hours ago. These storms are quickly surging out ahead of the main area of some colder temperatures that will be coming on in, so that's why we are seeing kind of the clashing of these two air masses, the boundaries that are continuing to keep our tornado risk and the damaging wind threat elevated here this evening, especially in our southern and southwestern communities where we have these severe thunderstorm warnings and tornadoes warnings right now. So this is the first area of rotation that we are seeing right now. Broad area, but still nonetheless rotating right now just to the north of St. Charles. This is going to continue to move towards James and Clausdale. If you live in and around M52, St. Charles, James, Clausdale, make sure you are getting into those tornado precautions immediately. We also have this area of rotation that is just to the south of Brant. It's a little bit more significant. You can see it right about there. So this is just moving over Hemlock Road. It's eventually going to jump towards M52. So anywhere in between Ring Road, M57, M52 towards Graveton. This would be just to the north of Chesaning. But if you're in Chesaning, you should also be taking this storm seriously just in case it potentially starts to shift a little bit further to the south. Nonetheless, it is rotating, and we do have that potential of a tornado that is happening with this storm. Now, these are embedded in a line of strong to severe storms that are still potentially producing some 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hailstones. So we have a couple areas of rotation there, and then also our more significant area of rotation potentially now down here towards Bennington and Pittsburgh. We mentioned you guys about 5 minutes ago. Hopefully you took this seriously, took those tornado precautions, got into that lowest interior room. But as we go further on off to the east, Shiawassee Town, Shiawassee, Vernon, towards Bancroft, Durand, right along Interstate 69 and also M71 in between M52, M71 and Interstate 69. If you live in this corridor, this is definitely an area of rotation and also some very strong winds. These winds are surging out ahead of this storm, could even produce some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds to go along with this area of rotation that we are definitely monitoring. So we have several areas of embedded rotation that are happening along this line. If you're under a tornado warning, we may potentially miss an area or two of rotation for a minute or two when it comes back to our radar system. You know, you can kind of get an idea, but if you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning, best thing you can do to keep yourself safe here right now and over the next hour or two is just get into that interior room. Go to the basement. Even if you're not under a tornado warning, damage can still be done by these significant winds as they are surging out of this storm, as it is getting into that warm, humid air mass that we have in place right now. So several areas of rotation that are involved with this line. We've been tracking them over the last 50 minutes or so. We were monitoring those as well coming out of West Michigan, but there are those two tornado warning polygons, Shiawassee and also Saginaw counties. You can see them in red. This is just to the south of Owasso, just outside of Saginaw, just to the north of Chesaning. But Chesaning, you should be monitoring this storm. Saginaw, you should be monitoring this storm. And then we have a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning for Genesee County. This is for 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-sized hail that could be happening with the storms out ahead of where we have some of that rotation that is involved with these two storms near the St. Charles area and also right around Bennington. Bennington, you are currently under that area of rotation, and also near Vernon, Bancroft, Durand. Should I say Durand, you are in this tornado warning, and you should be keeping a very close eye on this storm as well. If you're in Genesee County and you are seeing that alert come to your phone of a severe thunderstorm warning. We have 60-mile-per-hour winds possible. We have quarter-size hail possible, but we are also monitoring these 2 areas of rotation that could potentially include southern Genesee County eventually, where we have this area of rotation now moving out of Bennington and quickly approaching Bancroft, Vernon, and also Durand right along Interstate 69. So a lot happening with these storms. We also have this tornado warning here in Saginaw County as well until 12:15. The tornado warning in Shiawassee County is until 12:30 local time, and both of these severe thunderstorm warnings in both counties. There is a tornado possible tag, of course, because we have various areas of rotation, but also 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail possible with these storms, as well as the severe thunderstorm warning that is here in Genesee County until 1 a.m. local time. That gets us into early Wednesday morning. 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail possible with those storms as well. So that's kind of the lay of the land when it comes to our storm ready alerts right now. We are going to continue to monitor any area of rotation. We'll actually get back into our velocity, and I'll show you where we are monitoring that rotation right now, and also some surging strong winds that are coming with this storm that could potentially bring some damage. Even if it is not a tornado, could still be some damage involved with the straight line wind potential as well. So right along this area, this boundary, these storms that are happening right now, the area of rotation that moved out of St. Charles has started to weaken, but there is some broad rotation that is moving just to the south of St. Charles. It's where we have these reds and greens in between St. Charles, Groveton, as well as Clausdale. This is going to be moving towards Albee and Luce and over towards M13, Foster's, Taymouth. You should be keeping a very close eye on this storm because that's where we have the rotation right now. Potentially some weaker rotation off to the north that could be moving closer and closer to Saginaw and the city of Saginaw, but much stronger winds with these storms that are coming into Shiawassee County, as well as this area of rotation. This continues to be the area of rotation that is most significant. So Pittsburgh, we mentioned you. Bennington, we mentioned you just a few minutes ago. Hopefully you took those tornado precautions and took them seriously. And we just got a new scan of this storm ready velocity. So velocity shows us where the winds are going and how strong they are. So when we talk about the greens, that is actually going towards the radar. So we have that rotation or those winds going towards the radar here and then away from the radar in red. So we have some pretty significant winds that are coming into this storm, in and out of this storm, which is why we have that area of rotation that is happening right now near South State Street, Shiawassee. You should be already in your tornado precautions. We mentioned you just a few moments ago, as well as Shiawassee Town, Interstate 69, and also Bancroft, Shiawassee, Shiawassee Town, Vernon, Durand, Interstate 69, M71 towards East Lansing Road, South Byron Road, Newburgh Road, South Durand Road, Grand River Road, East Lansing Road, State Road, as well as up here towards East Bennington Road, South Reed Road, and also South Durand Road. You should be in your tornado precautions right now because even if this storm isn't necessarily producing a tornado, it does have some pretty significant winds. Some of these radar estimated winds are very strong, and we are getting closer and closer to the radar, so we do have maybe even the potential of some 70 to 80 mile per hour winds that are happening with this storm here in southern Shiawassee County that is coming along with that area of rotation as well. We also have some stronger winds that are happening up here and some broad rotation that is going on with this storm right now. You can see that area of rotation right around Clausdale. That's why we do have that tornado warning. It will be moving over towards Albee, Foster's, Taymouth. If I mention your city right now, we are tracking those areas of rotation, so you should be getting into your tornado precautions right now, and that's actually getting a little bit more significant. So I would not be surprised if we see a continuation of this tornado warning here momentarily for the rest of Saginaw County. We're definitely going to have to watch that here because this area of rotation is definitely significant and definitely getting a little bit stronger. So one thing I want to do is I want to zoom in on this area so we can get some of these cities and towns and also roads, because this area of rotation is definitely becoming more significant. Clausdale near Fergus Road, Albee, as well as, and I apologize if I mess up these road names, but we also have Bucci Road towards M13, and this is going to be jumping over towards Foster, Curtis Road, Bell Road, Road, Ford Road, and also Morrisville Road here in southern Saginaw County. We don't have a newly issued tornado warning, but I would not be surprised if they continue to extend this here momentarily into the rest of southern Saginaw County just because of that area of rotation. And then we have some pretty significant winds coming out of this storm, eventually moving into Shiawassee, Vernon, and maybe even jumping over into Genesee County. So Genesee County, you should be very closely monitoring and watching this storm because we do have some significant winds that are happening right now with this cell, and also potentially some of that rotation as well. So anyone along this line could and there we go. We just got a newly issued tornado warning, as we were mentioning here in southern Saginaw County. So we've been monitoring this storm. It now includes Frankenmuth, Birch Run, Albee, and Bridgeport. We have that rotation. It is getting pretty significant, closing in on M13. So if you live in southern or central Saginaw County, make sure you are getting into your tornado precautions, your tornado shelter. That is the lowest interior room away from any of these exterior walls and windows, preferably a basement. That is where you are going to be best protected. But of course, not everyone has a basement. So a hall closet, a bathroom definitely could keep you safe as we are continuing to watch these storms very closely, monitoring them right now. Also, not only here on Fox 66, but also here on NBC 25, we are going to continue to watch this as well. These two tornado warnings, one in Shiawassee County and also one here in Saginaw County. I'm jumping onto Facebook. If you guys are watching us on Facebook, I am going to be reading through these comments. I'm sure we're hearing the sirens going off in Saginaw County as well as Shiawassee County. So I'm going to be scrolling through these comments just to see if there's anything that I can answer. If you're hearing the sirens, get into those tornado precautions. You would definitely have a potentially tornado warning coming into your area and coming in to your region, which is why we have that extension of that tornado warning, and also the continuation of this tornado warning down here towards Bancroft, Burns, and Vernon. This is going to be right around Interstate 69, just to the north of Livingston County, and we also have these broad areas of those severe thunderstorm warnings as well for the potential of some hail, high winds, and also that rotation that is still happening right now towards Bancroft, Vernon, as well as Durand, which is why we have that radar indicated tornado warning that is currently ongoing right now. I'm going to go back off to the north because that is where some of that rotation is becoming a little bit more significant here into Saginaw County. And I am on Facebook now, so if you guys have any comments or questions, you can definitely leave them down in the comments. But we're tracking here minute by minute. If I mention your city or your community, make sure you are getting into that lowest interior room and putting as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. Here's that area of rotation. We mentioned it was moving towards M13, towards Foster's, Bell Road, Curtis Road, Fort Road, as well as Morrisville Road. This is going to be jumping towards Interstate 75 and potentially over towards Taymouth, Birch Run, Frankenmuth, M83, Interstate 75. Further on off to the north, no real area of rotation that we're necessarily seeing right now, but definitely some stronger winds are a possibility. We did see that extension of that tornado warning into more of Shiawassee or more of Saginaw County, as well as the continuation of the rotation, or with the rotation here in southern and central Shiawassee County. So this is quickly moving into the Durand area, Duffield, anyone around East Newburgh Road, Grand Blanc Road, Morris Road. This is jumping eventually into Genesee County, so we're going to have to see if the tornado warning is extended into Genesee County as well. This would not include the city of Flint, and likely would not include anybody flushing towards Brent Creek, Clayton, as well as McGrew Junction, anyone here in central and northern Genesee County. But we are going to continue to monitor it because this storm is potentially latching on to the warm front that is in our area right now, leading to the area of rotation that continues to be potentially pretty significant, and it is leading also to some pretty wicked winds and pretty significant winds as a result as well. Back off to the north, again, we have two areas of rotation right now. The first area of rotation here in Saginaw County is moving out of Clausdale. It is moving towards Foster's as well as Bridgeport, Interstate 75, likely just to the north of Albies right now. This is going to continue to progress on off to the east. Taymouth, Birch Run, Frankenmuth should all be weather aware and getting into your tornado precautions, that lowest interior room, preferably a basement, but if you don't have a basement, of course, you can get into that closet or bathroom, just as long as there's no exterior walls that could potentially be damaged or could potentially cave in, or even any windows that you could see outside to any of the exterior areas. So here's that other area of rotation that we were closely monitoring as well. It is also bringing some pretty significant winds. This is one thing that is also very, very dangerous with this storm, is even though it may be broadly rotating, could still have a tornado involved with this area of rotation. The tornado warning is right here, and that is going to be moving towards Durand. If you live here over into southern Genesee County, that includes anyone in between Schwartz Creek, Duffield, Mundy, Lake Fenton, Argentine, be very careful with this storm. This is a very significant storm. The southern side of this storm is producing very strong winds that could potentially be upwards of maybe even 70 to 80 miles per hour, just with some radar indicated winds that are coming out of this storm. So this is a significant one. It's rotating. We have any areas around, in and around Durand, East Newburgh, East Lansing Road towards North Oak Street, South Durand Road, South Byron Road, eventually potentially jumping into Genesee County as well. This would be near West Grand Blanc Road, Seymour Road, Ray Road, and maybe even out towards Baldwin Road near Duffield, as well as just to the south of Schwartz Creek. But anybody around and along and south of Interstate 69 need to be keeping a very close eye on this storm, because it also is producing some pretty wicked winds, some pretty strong winds as well, to go along with the potential area of rotation that is now moving into the Durand area. Back off to the north with our northern tornado warning. This is for in and around Bridgeport, Foster's, and Albee. We have this area of rotation that may be getting a little bit weaker, but still it's rotation nonetheless, and still should be taken very seriously. Because it could be potentially causing damage, could be a tornado that is involved with this storm, as it is moving into southern Saginaw County, and eventually it will be moving over towards Frankenmuth and Birch Run, and potentially just to the south of Bridgeport. But nonetheless, there are some strong winds that are coming out of this storm, which is why we have those areas of severe thunderstorm warnings, as well as the two tornado warnings that are also happening right now. That is our first area of rotation. There may be some broad rotation that is happening right around here towards the new Lothrop area that would eventually be moving into Flushing. So some very strong winds could be happening, as well as maybe some growing rotation, but also down here. This is where we have the most significant threat of a tornado and very strong winds. This wind is surging out and potentially causing some rotation, potentially allowing for a tornado to develop here around Shiawassee, around Vernon, and eventually would jump over into southern Genesee County near Duffield, Schwartz Creek, Mundy, and even down here towards East Grand Blanc Road, Baldwin Road, Seymour Road, Duffield Road, as well as Ray Road, Miller Road, Byron Road, up towards East Newburgh Road, as well as anybody to the south of Interstate 69. So very significant stuff with that area of rotation. They may extend that tornado warning into Genesee County, just depending on what they end up seeing with that storm that's continuing to rotate right now. I'm keeping an eye at least on the National Weather Service chat. They give you the latest and greatest on the storms that they have tornado warned, and they are definitely keeping an eye on the cell east of St. Charles as well, just because we are seeing maybe some additional rotation that is happening with this storm as a result of multiple different cells that are ongoing right now. Now, this would, again, just be to the east of St. Charles, so this would be more so near the Spalding, Bridgeport, and Foster's area. This is where we have that continued tornado warning, and where we do have that area of rotation right now. That would be in between Bridgeport and also Burt, but it is more so moving off to the northeast. So this is going to be moving in towards the Bridgeport area within the next couple of minutes. So if you live in and around Bridgeport, you should be getting into those tornado precautions right now as soon as you possibly can, which will keep you and anybody in your household as safe as possible. We'll see if they extend the tornado warning here into Genesee County right now. As of right now, there's no indication of that, but there is still definitely some significant winds that are coming out of this storm and that area of rotation that's happening right around the Duffield area. So this is in between Genesee and also Shiawassee counties. The only areas that are under that tornado warning is Shiawassee County right now, but still some significant winds, some significant areas of rotation, and we even have more of those severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings that are happening just off to our south and west. Now, as these storms start to trend here into the thumb, they may start to weaken. They may have their energy zapped because it is a little bit more on the colder side of things as you get closer to Lake Huron. Doesn't mean the threat is not there, but it's something that we will be very closely monitoring as well as these current severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. So just another lay of the land. We have our severe thunderstorm warnings here for Saginaw and Shiawassee until 12:30 local time. We also have a updated severe thunderstorm warning with the 70-mile-per-hour wind possible tag. That's with that stronger wind that is coming out of this storm just outside of Durand, just outside of Gaines as well. So both of these storms very significant, could definitely cause some damage and produce some damage as they continue into Genesee County as well. I apologize for the pause, just trying to get an idea of where some of that significant rotation is right now. So again, we have our two tornado warnings, one in Saginaw County and the other in Shiawassee County. The one in Saginaw County is until 11:45 local time, and the one in Saginaw County, or should I say the one in Shiawassee is until 12:30, the one in Saginaw is until 12:45 local time here tonight into what is now early Wednesday morning. So there's that area of rotation here with the Shiawassee County storm. Again, no indication that they are going to continue the tornado warning into Genesee County. Nonetheless, there is some rotation, so be taking this storm very seriously. It does have a history of producing some stronger winds and also that area of rotation. This is going to be moving towards the Duffield, Schwartz Creek, Mundy region of southern Genesee County. No tornado warning, but still a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on it, which is why we are very closely monitoring this storm for the potential of very significant wind and also any embedded areas of rotation as well. We also have that storm up here towards the Bridgeport area. We have that rotation that right now doesn't look like much on our radar, but we have those inbound winds, outbound winds, that area of rotation that is happening right there. So anybody around Bridgeport and eventually Frankenmuth, you should be getting into your tornado precaution areas and get into that safe spot in your home that would keep you away from any of the exterior walls and windows, just so you are not putting yourself at risk or any of your family members, friends that may be with you right now at risk as well from the damage that could be caused by these storms. So these storms are pretty significant. This is our most significant threat of the year so far and of the season so far, so we'll continue to very closely watch and monitor these storms because there is some damage that definitely was caused by these storms coming out of West Michigan, and there are some reports and some indications of damage that was caused by these storms. So even though we're not getting anything in our area just yet of any damage that was caused by these storms, there is still some areas of rotation that we are very closely watching and monitoring, and that could potentially bring some additional damage for those that are out ahead of these storms. If you're hearing the thunder and lightning in Flint right now, you're not in the worst of the storm just yet, but we are definitely seeing some stronger winds, rotation with this storm right now in southern Genesee County. So there's that newest scan. This is not a good look, because anytime you see what looks like a bulge in the storm itself, so you can see that area that is kind of surging out ahead of that line around it. We definitely have some rotation that is happening right here in southern Genesee County. I know there's not a tornado warning that has been issued, but very strong winds are coming out of this cell, potentially some 70-mile-per-hour winds surging out of this storm right now, at least on the leading edge of this storm. So this is going to be moving through Grand Blanc Road, Seymour Road, Baldwin Road, Torrey Road towards Mundy Township, Grand Blanc Road, as we mentioned, towards the intersection of US 23, 75, and 475. This is where we could potentially have the most significant damage because of the rotation and also the significant winds that are coming out of this storm right now as well. And as we get closer to the radar, there is that potential that these winds are definitely what they say they are, because that radar is right outside of Waterford. It's in White Lake, so we're not too far away from the radar right now, getting a good scan of this storm here in southern Genesee and also moving out of Shiawassee County right now. Again, there's no indication of continuing this tornado warning, but still a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag is happening right now, and we do have the worst of those winds happening with these storms right now as well. So good news is, I'm just taking a look at our storm ready alerts. The tornado warnings that have been issued by the National Weather Service have been allowed to expire, so that's good news there. Does not mean we don't have areas of rotation and significant winds that are coming out of these storms, but at least the rotation for right now is starting to weaken and die down. It looks a little bit more broad, but still very strong winds that are happening with these storms here in Shiawassee County, as well as Genesee County, and also Saginaw County. Now we do have that considerable tag on this severe thunderstorm warning, which is why we are going to continue to stay with this storm, especially because of what I'm seeing on our velocity and on our radar systems. We do have that velocity that is giving us an indication that there could be some 70, maybe even 80-mile-per-hour winds coming out of this storm here in southern Genesee County. So if you live around Flint and just to the south of Flint, this includes Mundy, Grand Blanc, Schwartz Creek, Lake Fenton, Argentine here in southern Genesee County over the next 5 to 15 minutes. There are some pretty significant winds that are happening with this storm and could be producing 60, 70, maybe even 80-mile-per-hour winds as it is quickly moving into Genesee County right now. And that's why we do have that considerable tag on our severe thunderstorm warning. If you're watching us on Facebook and YouTube, I'm going to jump back into the comments. Let me see if there is anything else that you guys are saying right now, because I want to make sure I'm answering any of these comments. I'm not seeing anything new, which is good, but as of right now, no active tornado warnings. That's one good piece of news. Does not mean we're not seeing significant winds and potential damage being caused by these storms right now. Further to the north, broad area of rotation, strong winds that are coming out of this cell right now in parts of Saginaw County, and again, some areas of embedded rotation that could cause damage as well. But the worst of the storm right now, at least in our area currently, is in far southern Genesee County. So I'm going to go back to this cell. We've been tracking this cell throughout Shiawassee County that had that tornado warning on it. It is now a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag, but could be seeing some 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds that are coming out of this storm currently. So I'm going to put a track on this. I'm going to get an idea of if they have upgraded or updated this tornado warning to show how fast this is moving. It says at about 45 miles per hour. We'll go with 50 just to be on the safer side here, because this storm has definitely caused some significant winds as it has been moving off to the east. So we'll go here over the next half an hour, maybe even giving it a slight northeast to easterly jog. So timing this out, moving off to the east at about 50 miles per hour, and it does have some pretty significant winds to come along with it. Schwartz Creek, it'll be in your neck of the woods by 12:16, Mundy by 12:20, Grand Blanc 12:27, Atlas by 12:33, and then 12:41 in the city of Hadley. So we're tracking the storm moving east at about 50 miles per hour. Again, the good news is we don't have any active tornado warnings, but there are still severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect with a tornado possible tag here, not only for Genesee County, but also for Saginaw County. So there are areas of embedded rotation. There are also some pretty significant winds that are coming in with this cell and these storms that are happening right now and that are moving into parts of Genesee County, especially here in southern Genesee County as we speak. So a lot happening with these storms. This is the main area of activity right here, right along this area of winds that are continuing to potentially surge out of this storm to give us that 60 to 70 mile per hour wind potential. Taking a look at some of these estimated winds by the radar, it's picking up 63 as well as 71 potentially in a couple of these scans. So a lot of wind that is coming into southern Genesee County. It may not be a tornado warning, but it is still a tornado possible tag that we are seeing on this storm currently. So take it seriously, get into those tornado precautions. Regardless, even though we don't have a tornado warning, it's a tornado possible tag on this severe thunderstorm warning. It's a considerable damage tag as well, which means some of those winds could be upwards of 70 miles per hour, which is just as strong at times as a low-end EF0 tornado. You can probably hear the rain coming down on our rooftop here. We are in Mount Morris, so we are also very closely monitoring these storms that are bringing some of those significant winds to come along with it. And also that broad area of rotation that is now moving out of Shorts Creek. Those that are in and around Shorts Creek, Mundy, Fenton, Lake Fenton, Linden, you guys are about to be hit by some 50 to 70 mile per hour winds. So right along that Interstate 75, 23, and 475 intersection, all of these roads is where we are likely going to be hardest hit by this storm. And then going down to about 40 to maybe even 60 mile per hour winds up here in central and northern Genesee County. That includes the city of Flint right now. We are also seeing some broad rotations still ongoing with the southern portion of this storm. So tracking it out right now, because we probably will get a new scan here momentarily. Anyone around Grand Blanc, as we mentioned, West Maple Ave, as well as Fenton Road, East Maple Ave, Vassar Road, Perry Road, McCandlish, South Saginaw Road, Dort Highway, M54, as well as near East Bristol Road, as well as West Bristol Road, Interstate 75, this intersection in this interchange with the US 23, as well as Interstate 475. This is where we have some broad rotation and also some stronger winds that are coming out of this storm. So make sure you are taking this seriously, as we do have some damage that could be caused by these storms, not only extending through Genesee County, but also up here into Saginaw County as well. Here are those storm ready alerts, no longer under any tornado warnings. That's the good news. Bad news, we still do have some damage that could be caused by these straight line winds that are coming out of this storm, and you can see it quickly surging on off to the east. It is bringing quite a punch with it, lots of heavy rain, thunder and lightning, even some small hail, and then even to the north of these storms. We're not done with the rain, so this could also cause some flooding issues as well. That's a look at radar. So the thumb is being hit particularly hard by these storms. Lots of heavy rain and thunder and lightning, but no severe thunderstorm warnings that are happening here into the thumb. It's just Saginaw County, as well as down towards Genesee County. The storm is going to continue on south and east here into Livingston and also Oakland counties, which is where we are likely going to see an extension of these severe thunderstorm warnings here momentarily. But definitely some strong winds that are happening here in southern and central Genesee County, as well as some of that rotation. You can see those winds going not necessarily towards the radar. So these winds are definitely rotating here right now, and we are seeing them potentially leading to a weak or embedded tornado to go along with some very strong winds that are heading through Linden, Lake Fenton, Fenton right now, as well as through Mundy currently. We have the potential of some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, less so as you go further to the north, some 40 to 60 mile per hour winds, but those could still do some damage right now. So anybody in Genesee County, if you're hearing my voice, you should be staying safe, getting into those tornado precautions, that basement, lowest interior room as you can get, staying away from any of those exterior walls and windows, because we potentially could be having some damage caused by these straight line winds as a result of these storms now moving on in. If you live in Livingston and also Oakland counties, you may have additional severe thunderstorm warnings that are issued for you. But as of right now, the worst of the storms are here around Interstate 69 because as of just a moment ago, we now have no more severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings here closer to M46 in Saginaw or even Tuscola County. The storms are weakening, but there are newly issued severe thunderstorm warnings here now in Livingston and Oakland counties for 60-mile-per-hour winds and also quarter-sized hail. So now that we don't have any tornado warnings, I'm able to take a little bit more of a breath. You know, we do have some very strong winds that are possible here over the next 30 minutes to an hour, but right now no active tornado warnings. So that's one good piece of news. What I'm likely going to do is stick with this severe thunderstorm warning until I start to see signs of maybe some weakening, which is occurring right now. But we have our severe thunderstorm warning here in Genesee County with still that considerable tag, the tornado possible tag, as we do have some broad rotation, but it is looking like it's turning more into a wind threat as opposed to a tornado risk. Could still be some large hailstones up to the size of quarters right now, but definitely some 50 to 70 mile per hour winds possible with this storm as it is coming out of Shiawassee County, moving into Genesee County, and then of course we have our potential stronger winds as well here in Livingston and also Oakland counties right now, and we'll see if there is an area of severe thunderstorm warning that is extended into Lapeer County as well. So we'll watch and see if that storm gets close enough, and also if there is any expansion and any movement of that severe thunderstorm warning into Lapeer County, if that storm is able to maintain itself. But the further east that it goes, the more it's running into the colder temperatures and likely having some of its energy zapped, which is good news. You know, we want to limit any potential of severe damage because of straight line winds or tornadoes as much as we possibly can. If you are just joining us, we have that newly issued severe thunderstorm warning here in Livingston and also Oakland counties. This storm could potentially bring some 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hailstones as they are moving in, coming out of Genesee and also Shiawassee counties, and also coming out of Ingham County as well, closer to Lansing. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm taking a look at our National Weather Service chat just to get an idea of if they are seeing any other areas that they may warn here soon. But nonetheless, this is definitely a strong storm capable of producing some 50 to 70 mile per hour winds currently. Now that I'm starting to see some signs of this storm weakening, what we may end up doing until we have a tornado warning that is issued is we are going to go back to regular programming. So for the folks in our control room, I am going to go back to regular programming. Right now, we are going to stay on YouTube and Facebook, however, and continue to track these storms here on social media. So if you're watching us on NBC 25 and Fox 66, we will continue these tracking of these storms and these severe thunderstorm warnings on Facebook and YouTube. Hey there, everyone. We're still here live on Facebook and YouTube tracking these severe thunderstorm warnings. There is some significant winds that are coming out of this storm, especially down here into southern Genesee County. We've been tracking this very often here over the last hour to an hour and a half. So there is a lot of wind that could potentially be doing damage here with this southern storm that is eventually going to be moving here into northern Livingston and also northern Oakland counties. I'll show you where we are seeing that push of wind that is happening right now. It's with this storm that is quickly surging on off to the east and to the south, potentially some 50 to 70 mile per hour winds happening here in northern Livingston, but especially northern Oakland and southern Genesee County. So if you're watching us on Facebook and YouTube and you are in these areas, just know that we are continuing to monitor your region for the worst of these storms. Further on off to the north, these storms are starting to weaken and no longer are severe warned. It's really just here, Shiawassee, Genesee, Livingston, and Oakland now, where we have the best ingredients and best potential for these severe thunderstorm warnings to potentially produce some 50 to 70 mile per hour winds. We also have the potential of some larger hailstones up to the size of quarters, but that possibility and that potential seems to be weakening a little bit more as this shifts more towards a wind threat. As of right now, I would say the worst of the storm is going to be with those 50 to 70 mile per hour winds that are coming out of this cell, now moving into northern Oakland and maybe eventually here into Lapeer County. So it's one that we are going to be watching. If there is another issuance of a warning into Lapeer County as well, we will of course let you know about it as soon as we hear about it as well. And I'm looking through the various chats just to see if they are seeing anything that I may not necessarily be seeing as well. As of right now, there is some potentially some broad rotation here in the southern side of Genesee County, now moving outside of Grand Blanc, but definitely some stronger winds that are surging out of this storm. Atlas towards Hadley, Kerr Hill, Metamora, Hunters Creek here into Lapeer County. Be on high alert as you could be seeing some stronger winds that are coming out of this storm, as well as here in northern Oakland County, Rose, Springfield, Groveland, Brandon, Oxford, Orion. You could potentially have some stronger winds that are happening with these storms as well. If you are just joining us, we have these continued severe thunderstorm warnings for Genesee, Shiawassee, Oakland, and also Livingston counties. We are no longer on NBC 25 and Fox 66 as these storms have weakened a little bit, but still the potential of 50 to 70 mile per hour winds and also hailstones up to the size of quarters in any of these yellow, should I say orange polygon areas, which is our severe thunderstorm warnings right now. This includes Genesee County until 1 a.m. local time for 70 mile per hour winds. There is still a tornado possible tag as we do have some rotation here on the southern side of this storm, but nothing that is too particularly intense. The Shiawassee County severe thunderstorm warning will likely be allowed to expire here at the half hour, so at 12:30, and then we have our severe thunderstorm warnings until 1:30 for Livingston and Oakland, 60 mile per hour winds, quarter-sized hailstones possible as well. We are also seeing, and I'll show you this right now, they just issued that, and you saw the Shiawassee County severe thunderstorm warning allowed to expire The tornado watch box that was issued for our central counties has been allowed to expire early, so no longer under a tornado watch. We have the tornado watch still here into the thumb, but I would say that the chance of a tornado or any severe storm is definitely lower here into the thumb because we are considerably colder with those winds coming off of Lake Huron. The worst of the storm still ongoing in Genesee, northern Livingston, northern Oakland counties as we speak. We'll go over to our Doppler radar system, and we are going to show you where the storms are currently. As you can see here, we have that area of more activity, more active storms that are not necessarily bringing a severe risk with them, but still could be some 30, maybe 40 mile per hour winds, some small hail here into Lapeer, Tuscola, Sanilac, and also Huron counties. And then down here, the storm is quickly surging into Livingston and Oakland counties, and that's where we have the potential of some 60 mile per hour winds, quarter-sized hail to go along with the Genesee County storm as well. All right, everyone, we are continuing to, and I just needed to take a sip of water so that I can not lose my voice here as we go throughout the overnight. Still have to work tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. We do have another severe risk tomorrow, so that's one that we're watching and monitoring, but it is going to be a lot weaker tomorrow, so that's one good piece of news. For right now, we still have some stronger winds happening with this storm in southern Genesee, as well as these winds starting to surge out of the storm in Livingston and Oakland. It's maybe getting a little bit weaker here in Livingston and Oakland counties, but still nonetheless under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60 mile per hour winds and maybe some quarter-sized hail. I would say the worst of this storm right now continues to be in southern Genesee County, as we do have some steadier and stronger winds, but as of right now, nothing too significant that we are seeing on our radar system currently that would give us an indication that another tornado warning could be issued, and even some of these severe thunderstorm warnings could potentially be downgraded, maybe as well as allowed to expire early if these storms continue to weaken. That's one thing that we always want to see. Anytime we can have a storm that is weakening, that is good news in our book, just because we don't want any damage to happen with any of these storms that happen from time to time in these months, in these spring and summer months. So as of right now, worst of the winds, potentially some winds up to 60 miles per hour coming out of this storm right now here in southern Genesee, as well as northern Livingston, northern Oakland, to go along with maybe some large hailstones, but a lot of these hailstones are likely on the smaller side, just as we are, again, continuing to see this storm system weakening. It is much stronger, much more significant here on the southern side of this line, so down through southwestern lower Michigan, they have a little bit better of the ingredients for the continuation, at least, of these storms right now. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to jump into the Storm Prediction Center website just to see where the latest and at least best area of storm energy is right now. We are kind of being undercut by the winds that are coming off of Lake Huron, so we're starting to see the colder air starting to take over a little bit more as the storm system moves through. There is a lot more heat and humidity to our south and to our west, which is why those storms are a little bit more intense than what we are seeing here right now, but still nonetheless damaging wind threat to potentially some hailstones up to the size of quarters still ongoing with these storms here in Genesee, Shiawassee, Genesee, should I say, as well as Livingston and Oakland counties. But you can see a major line of showers and storms that extend from Alpena all the way down through Chicago, and even more of these storms that are developing out here towards Milwaukee and Chicago, which may end up continuing our flood threat overnight as of right now. And I don't think we have any flood warnings that have been issued here, but we still have that broad area of flood watches. So those area flood watches that we will continue to see and monitor, and maybe have some flood warnings that are issued as a result of the intense rain that is happening right now. There's a flood warning here in Gratiot County, so that's one thing that was newly issued just about an hour ago. Because of how much water and rain that has happened recently. But as of right now, the worst conditions, of course, that we are continuing to monitor is that damaging wind potential that is now happening and moving into parts of Lapeer County potentially, but definitely some of those stronger winds in northern Livingston, northern Oakland, as well as Lapeer counties as well. But as we're starting to get into the thumb, it's a lot colder. Temperatures are in the 40s and 50s, which I can show you here right now. Just to kind of step away from the radar and step away from what is particularly significant when it comes to these storms. You can see that it is in the 40s and 50s. And one thing I'll do is I'll actually extend this out so you can see a few more of our area thermometers and what we are seeing reading-wise of our temperatures. 60s and 70s, which is why we have the most intense storms here around Interstate 69. But then as you jump into the thumb, we're in the 50s, we're in the 40s. It's a lot colder, a lot less of that storm energy for these storms to feed off of and potentially become strong to severe. So I know you're under a tornado watch, but as of right now, your risk is particularly low. We are still seeing 60s off to the west, but you are behind that storm system. And of course, the closer you are to Lake Huron, the colder it is right now. So here's another look at those severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect currently. This is for Genesee, Livingston, and Oakland counties, likely here over the next half an hour to 45 minutes, I would say. But if there is any indication of these storms weakening, the National Weather Service would, of course, let us know that they may allow these severe thunderstorm warnings to expire early. But it doesn't mean that's necessarily going to happen. Just know that the potential is there that these storms continue to weaken, which would be good news. Nevertheless, we don't have a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning here in Lapeer County. Let me see if there is a special weather statement that has been issued. As of right now, no. There is no special weather statement that has been issued. I'm going to roll through that one more time, but as of what I see right now, and even this severe thunderstorm warning in Genesee County has been allowed to expire early. So good news there. These storms are continuing to weaken. We'll keep a close eye on them. Actually, as I was just saying, we didn't have anything Lapeer. We now have a Lapeer severe thunderstorm warning. 60-mile-per-hour winds, the main threat with this storm as it is moving here into Lapeer County. The fire in Lapeer, Mike Vogt is reporting a house fire at 3628 Pratt Road in Hadley Township because of a lightning strike. So that's also one thing that can cause significant damage. Anytime you have a lightning strike that causes a fire, even outside of the stronger winds, that can do damage as well. That's why even if you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning, you should take these storms very seriously, because the lightning can be just as dangerous as hail, wind, and a tornado threat, which we are still seeing. The severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 1:45 local time. These storms are quickly moving, so that severe thunderstorm warning may be allowed to expire before that actually happens, but these storms are just starting to make their way through Lapeer County. So some 60-mile-per-hour winds and also hail up to the size of some pennies are a possibility with this severe thunderstorm warning from Deerfield all the way down through Metamora right now. Where we are likely seeing the worst of the winds, as we've been mentioning time and time again, here in southern Genesee County, so towards Atlas, eventually going to be moving towards Hadley, Metamora, just south of Interstate 69, but you know, some winds could still approach severe limits here in central and northern Lapeer County. As of right now, the worst of the winds are definitely off to your west still in southern Genesee County, but that storm system is quickly moving into Lapeer County, so some 60-mile-per-hour winds remain a possibility with these storms as they continue in their easterly progression. Now, making sure that I keep an eye on our Facebook just to see if there's any additional comments, questions, concerns that you may have. There's also a flood advisory that has been issued by the National Weather Service in Saginaw and Genesee County. That is until 3:15 local time, so there's likely some areas of water, likely some areas of flooding that are ongoing right now to go along with the severe weather risk that is also happening. I'm going to go back to the comments, see if I can see anything. Davison, you guys are in the clear. Burton, you can go to bed. It is over in Flint. The worst of the storm has now moved out of Genesee County. So if you're hearing me in Genesee County, you are safe to go back to bed. No more of a severe risk for you guys currently. I apologize, my Facebook stream is not updating the chat, so I wasn't able to see all of these comments that came in over the last few minutes. So I apologize for that. I had to refresh Facebook, but I'll go through the last 10 minutes. So all of the warnings in Saginaw Bay and Midland were lifted, and also the watches. Flint, you are out of the risk, as well as Millington and Vassar. Anybody in Genesee County, you are good and safe to go to bed. No tornado in Lapeer. Grand Blanc, Davison, all good. St. Clair, these storms are moving towards you. We mentioned Fenton as well. You are safe and good to go. You are behind the worst of this storm currently. As you can see, and I'll kind of put a line right here of where I have the worst of this storm right now. It's right here into Livingston, Oakland, and also Lapeer counties, and this is going to continue on off to the east and southeast towards Oxford by 10:50, Waterford in central Oakland right around 1, and then getting down more so into central southern Livingston, more so into Oakland and out of Lapeer County here over the next half an hour. So if you're in Genesee, if you're in Shiawassee, Saginaw, as well as Gratiot counties, Tuscola, Sanilac, maybe not necessarily Sanilac just yet, but Tuscola, Huron, Saginaw, Bay, Midland, you guys are out of the severe weather risk officially. Same thing into Genesee and also Shiawassee, as we are now behind the worst of this storm. And I apologize if I missed any of your comments on this video. Facebook was not updating for me, so they were not rolling on in. So I'm going to keep refreshing Facebook, so it kind of gives me the latest and greatest on these comments that you guys are having. Leanne Thomas, you are good to go to bed. You are safe, northern Genesee County. Holly, you are still under this storm right now, so not out of the biggest wind threat just yet. Saginaw County, you are good. Ann Arbor, you still have these storms that are likely going to come through in about an hour, so not out of the threat just yet. Dwayne King, I know it's thundering and raining in Saginaw, but you are good. You are out of the risk of severe weather officially, so you're safe to go to bed here now. And again, I'll keep refreshing Facebook just in case any of these comments still keep coming through so that I can answer them effectively and make sure you guys are up to date as much as possible. I apologize for not being able to see those comments. Facebook was not updating for me, so I have to keep refreshing the page, which is not what I understood was going to be the case. Usually it auto updates itself, but was not happening. So now that I know this, we will be making sure we answer your comments more effectively here the next time we have any of these storms. Most of us are behind the storms. Emma Welsh in Burton, you are good. It is not going to come back for the rest of tonight. You are behind the worst of the storm. You may still be hearing thunder and lightning. You may still be hearing the heavy rain on your rooftops, but you are behind the worst of the storm, so you can safely go to bed now. Most of our area is out of this risk of these thunderstorms, but we still do have our severe thunderstorm warning here in Lapeer County, as well as Oakland and Livingston counties. But if you are in, so I'm going to name out the counties that are safe. So if you are anywhere north of US 10, so that includes all of the counties from Midland over towards Isabella and Bay and points north, you are out of the severe weather risk. You are out of the risk of severe weather in Gratiot, Shiawassee, Saginaw, Bay, as well as Tuscola, Huron, and also Genesee County. Those that are not out of the severe weather risk just yet, Sanilac, Lapeer, Oakland, and Livingston. So those 4 counties that are along and ahead of these storms are not out of the severe risk just yet. Once again, I am going to continue to watch your guys' comments come on in so that I can answer them effectively. But again, if you are under a severe thunderstorm warning, Lapeer, Oakland, and also Livingston counties, you should make sure that you are staying safe. Huron, you are all good. Angela, Goodrow, and Flushing, you guys are fine. Vassar and Carroll, you guys are good to go. Pontiac, you are not safe just yet. These storms are going to be coming on through soon. Sarah, safe to go to bed in Lapeer, not just yet. I would give it another half an hour, maybe even less than that, just to allow these storms to pass on by, and I'll give you the all clear when I know as well. Shannon and Ingham, you are good. Actually, you guys are actually seeing some of those storms, so not quite yet. I know you're still under a severe thunderstorm warning, so not quite yet in Ingham County. Detroit, you still have these storms that are bearing down on you, so within the next hour to an hour and a half, you'll likely have these storms move through. St. Clair County, you're not out of the woods just yet. Sanilac, I would say, you still have the possibility of severe weather throughout the next hour or so, so not quite yet that you are safe. Braden, everything is good in Grand Blanc. You are behind these storms now. And again, we still have our severe thunderstorm warnings here in Lapeer County, Oakland, and also Livingston counties. I'll go through the time frame. So the Lapeer County one is until 1:45. Oakland County and Livingston County, this one is until 1:30. So if you live in any of these counties, make sure you are staying weather aware. Some 60-mile-per-hour winds and potentially some small hail is still a possibility. I know I had Sanilac County mentioned. You are not seeing the worst of these storms just yet because the ones in Lapeer still have yet to move through your area, but I would say your risk is very low, so you probably won't have a severe thunderstorm warning that is issued, but still not out of the threat just yet. If you have any friends, family that live down in Metro Detroit, they are about to be hit over the next hour or two. Here again, one more time, is our severe thunderstorm warnings. They are for 60-mile-per-hour winds and some smaller hail in Livingston, Oakland, and also Lapeer counties. Checking through the comments once again. Flint is good. Heartland, not just yet. You have these storms coming through here very soon. Perry and Lansing, not just yet. Same thing in the Ingham County. You are not in the clear just yet. Springport, you are likely good. Grand Blanc, you are good. Holly, not just yet, but likely within the 5 to 10 minutes, you will be good. Beecher, you are good. Caro, you are safe tonight. You can go to bed. Let's For St. Clair, I'd say probably over the next hour you'll see the worst of these storms. Davison, Torrey, you are good and safe. And again, I'm refreshing these comments as quickly as I can. Making sure I answer as many as I possibly see here, just so I can keep you guys as safe as possible. Because trust me, not being able to sleep and having to go into work early in the morning, not fun. Millington, you are good. Birch Run, you are good. Deerfield Township, you're still being hit by those storms, so not quite yet that you are in the clear. You'll actually probably have the worst of these storms coming through here momentarily. Still some 60-mile-per-hour winds possible. Torrey, the worst of the storm has already moved through Davison, so what you're seeing right now is just kind of the remnant lightning and rain that is happening behind the worst of these storms. So they've already moved through your area, so you're on the backside of the worst of these severe storms. So here are these storms right now. I know we were talking about Saginaw County, but I'm not really seeing too many signs that we would get a severe thunderstorm warning issued here. So I would say if you're in Saginaw County, you're probably safe. You know, it's something I'll continue to monitor, but maybe far southern Saginaw County should still be weather aware because that's where these storms are coming out of Lapeer right now. Far southern Saginaw County, but if you live up towards Sandusky, Delaware, even into Forester, you guys are fine, as well as Argyle. But definitely some strong winds coming out of these storms here in Oakland and Livingston counties. So if you live in Oakland or Livingston counties, you are not in the clear just yet. That includes you, Sarah Smith, in Pontiac. You are actually seeing the worst of the storms bearing down on you right now. So likely going to be at least another half an hour before you're kind of in the clear. Once again, refreshing so I can see any of your new comments. Bad Axe, you are good. Okemos, I would say you're pretty much in the clear. The worst of the storms have moved south of you. Marana, I'm glad it has moved out of Burton. You guys are in the clear. Otisville, you are in the clear as well. Same for you in Burton, Montrose. So I'm slowly getting these comments in here. Saginaw, Bad Axe, you guys are all good. Holly, you still have the storms overhead, so I would say you're not good just yet. Cher, I'm glad it has calmed down in Davison. Byron, you guys are good as well. And again, I'm trying to see as many comments as I can, answer as many questions as I can. For right now, we still do have those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Lapeer, Oakland, and Livingston counties for some 60-mile-per-hour winds. But these storms are slowly weakening. So that's one good piece of news that we still have with us, but still tracking them nonetheless. Bad Axe, Ava, you guys are in the clear. Howell, not just yet. Birch Run, you are good. Holly, you are good at this point. I would say the worst of the storms have passed by you, so now you're just kind of seeing the backside of these storms. You're still in the heavy rain and thunder and lightning, but the worst of the storm has now passed by you. Bay County, you guys are good. Everyone in Bay County is safe. Lapeer, not just yet. Still have that severe thunderstorm warning in Lapeer County, but the city of Lapeer is good. So if you live in the city of Lapeer, you're good. If you're in Lapeer County, especially towards Burnside, Goodland, as well as towards Almont, not just yet out of the threat of these storms. Macomb County, not just yet under any warnings, but don't be surprised if you are put under a severe thunderstorm warning here momentarily. Columbiaville, Mundy Township, you guys are good. Lizzie Adams near Detroit. So the worst of the storms are actually still off to your north. I would say you've got another hour or two before they move through and you're in the clear. Once again, if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, I'm happy to answer them here live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm keeping a very close eye on if we have any new comments that are rolling on through. Jackson and Fenton, you guys are in the clear. You are safe to go to bed. Brooklyn for Flint. I'm assuming you're saying Flint. Flint is in the clear. Clarkston is not in the clear just yet, but soon, very soon, Kelly, you will be in the clear of these storms. And I apologize if my voice seems like it's giving out. Most of our viewing area is now starting to get into the clear of these storms. So as you can see, we still have our severe thunderstorm warnings here. I'll actually go over to this one. Kind of gives us some better idea of what is happening. So this is our tornado watch box, still in effect for the Thumb and down through Interstate 69. But if you're in the Thumb, Tuscola, Sanilac, and also Huron counties, you're pretty much in the clear of these storms. I would say the worst of it is still happening down south of Interstate 69. So we'll probably see this tornado watch box allowed to be lifted before it is set to expire at 4 a.m. So that's the watch box right now. I'm going to take the watches off and go into just the warnings here. So here are our warnings. So this has kind of been shaved off here in Lapeer County, but still some 60-mile-per-hour winds and some small hail possible until 1:45. Oakland and Livingston County until 1:30. So until these storms have ended and we no longer have any warnings, we will stay on here on Facebook and YouTube. Kelly, for Linden, you guys are in the clear. Brooklyn and Flint, you are in the clear as well. Jackson Imlay City is not in the clear just yet, but you will be very soon. Clinton Township, Penelope, you guys are still on the southern side of these storms, so they will be moving in over the next hour. North Branch for you and Carol Bates in North Branch, you guys are in the clear. Gaines and Linden area, Autumn, you guys are in the clear. Kathleen and Fenton, you are in the clear. North Branch, Outer Lake area, you guys are in the clear. And thank you guys for the wonderful comments about our coverage here tonight. This is why we do it. We appreciate you guys for the love and support, and we will continue to monitor these storms all season long, and we'll be here to keep you guys safe and informed as much as we can. If you guys are in a city and you're worried or concerned about your severe risk, make sure you leave your city in the comments, and I'll be happy to let you know if you are still under a severe risk as of right now and what you can expect for the rest of tonight. Behind this wave, we are not expecting any more severe weather for the rest of tonight. So once you are out and once I clear your city, we are not expecting anything else besides some heavy rain, some thunder and lightning. Yes, that's still a possibility tonight. So flooding potential is still there. But when it comes to severe weather, damaging winds, hail, and also a tornado threat, that is going to be going away with this line of storms. So anything else for the rest of tonight, we are not going to have a severe risk. Sharon and Saginaw, you guys are safe. And Dana and Holly, you guys are safe officially. I know you're still under a severe thunderstorm warning, but the worst of the storm has moved to your south. And I know we had some comments about Saginaw County because we saw that severe thunderstorm warning shaved. I am saying that you are in the clear. So I'm going to go through the various counties that are in the clear as of now. So we have Roscommon, Ogama, Iosco, Aranac, Gladwin, and Clare, Isabella, Midland, Bay. Again, if you're hearing the counties that I'm listing right now, you are in the clear. You are no longer under a severe risk. This includes as well Gratiot, Saginaw, Bay, as we mentioned, Tuscola, Huron, and Sanilac, as well as Shiawassee and Genesee. The only counties that we are still monitoring for severe weather is here in Livingston, Oakland, and Lapeer, where we still have active warnings. Rochelle, you will likely be in the clear probably by about 1:30, 2 o'clock in St. Clair County. Chesaning, you are in the clear. Kathleen, the tornado watch, I know it's still up. It's likely going to be allowed to expire in Shiawassee and Genesee County here probably before 2 a.m. Even though you're still under the watch, I am clearing your area from severe weather. Faith and Holly, you are in the clear. Millington, you are also in the clear. Again, if I mention your county or I'm mentioning your city and I say you are in the clear, no more severe weather risk for the rest of tonight. Tiffany, if you're talking about the city of Lapeer, you are in the clear. If you're talking about the county of Lapeer, you are still under a severe thunderstorm warning. But if you're talking about the city, you are in the clear. Merrill, Hemlock, Gary, you are in the clear. Grand Blanc, you are in the clear. Cass City, you are in the clear. Warren, for you, Kelly, Hughes, you are not in the clear just yet. These storms are going to be quickly moving into your area from the north here over the next hour or two. Donna and Chesterfield, you are also in the clear. Once again, I am going to refresh Facebook and make sure I have the latest comments here. I'm just kind of looking over the National Weather Service chat, seeing if they have any indication of anything else that could be coming down the line. As of right now, nothing behind this wave that we are expecting to be strong to severe. So if I cleared you, you guys are good to go. Stanley, in the city of Lapeer, you are good. Heartland, not quite yet, because I also have radar on another screen, so not quite clear yet in Heartland, but you are seeing the worst of the storm kind of moving through right now, but you will soon be in the clear. Saginaw County, Johnny, you are in the clear. Cher, I know it's still thundering and you have some lightning in Davison, but you are in the clear. This is kind of just the aftermath of these storms. The worst of the storms are now off to your south and east. So you are in the clear. It's still just going to heavy rain, thunder, and lightning throughout the next couple of hours behind these storms. Megan and Saginaw, you are in the clear. All good to go. Ryan, Mount Morris for a tornado. You have no concerns for a tornado here for the rest of tonight. So you are in the clear as well. And Megan, if you're still watching, you are in the clear in Saginaw. I'm going to jump back over to our radar just to see where these storms are again and kind of give you guys the latest on where the worst of the storms are right now. So we'll pause it right here. So we have likely the worst of the storms now moving more so into St. Clair County, maybe even southern Sanilac, but I'm not necessarily worried about any of these storms that are closer to Lake Huron. It's more so the storms that are down here in between Orion, White Lake, Osceola, out towards Ingham. So that's where the worst of the storms are here right now. And these storms may be starting to slow down, which could increase the flooding threat in Livingston and Oakland counties. But as of right now, we'll go to about 40 miles per hour, and we'll put a track on these storms as they continue to head further on off to the south and east. We'll go here over the next 38 minutes or so. Macomb by about 113, Troy 115, Sterling Heights in Metro Detroit 123, Warren by 132, Livonia 138. So quickly heading south. If you are in the Metro Detroit area, just know they are still expecting these storms to move through now and 3 a.m. There is still a potential of a brief spin-up tornado, but the main threat will be damaging winds. Still monitoring our chat here on Facebook. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, the good news is these storms are weakening. Not seeing a major threat from the wind as of right now in our area any longer. So what I'm likely going to do is potentially get off of Facebook and YouTube. Kind of give you guys the all clear here momentarily. But I'm starting to see our viewers are going down. Everyone's kind of getting back to bed after these storms moved on through. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys have any damage that has happened in your community, you can definitely let us know through Facebook or even through email. You can reach out to us. But just let us know if you guys encountered any damage, any power outages that happened because of these storms. I'm actually going to look at DTE and Consumers Energy to see what their power outage maps are like, to see what the outage reports are currently. All right, so DTE only has 99 people without power. Very good news, but the worst of the storms kind of haven't come through their area just yet. So let's go to Consumers. Consumers probably has a little bit more. So we have 47,000 people without power, and it looks like the hardest hit areas are right here in southern Owasso, down through about Perry towards Durand, as we mentioned, with that area of most significant winds, and also coming through here into southern Genesee County in spots, and then also up towards St. Charles, where we had that tornado warning earlier on, as well as southern Gratiot counties. So definitely some damage that was being caused by these storms. Lisa, the Cass, Dowagiac area, you guys are good to go. No longer under severe risk. Danny, the Lapeer County tornado watch will probably disappear within the next hour or two, but your risk is now done. So even though you're still under the watch, I'm giving you the all clear. Rochelle, I would say there's not really a high risk of a tornado in St. Clair. We're still live with you guys, but the severe weather risk is quickly ending for our area, now moving mainly down into Metro Detroit. As you can see, these storms are quickly moving to our south and east. Mariah, Warren, Michigan, not in the clear just yet. You'll have these storms coming through here soon. Mainly just a wind threat. Chris, hopefully not too much of those floodwaters coming into your area. That's never fun when we have this much rain over the last couple of weeks. Mariah, no tornado warning for Warren. It's probably going to just be a damaging wind threat. Shannon, Ingham County, Weberville, you guys are safe to go to bed. I know there's a lot of lightning that's happening, but that storm has pretty much passed by you now. Star and Fenton, you guys are safe. That storm has now moved away. For Saginaw, we are in the clear in Saginaw as well. A lot of our area is now in the clear. It's really just Livingston and Oakland counties that have a threat at this point. But even then, I could see them maybe shaving those severe thunderstorm warnings down into just central and southern Livingston and Oakland, which would effectively take our entire area out of the risk of severe weather. As you can see, we have the white polygons, which is our special weather statements, which is one step below a severe thunderstorm warning. That's for the potential likely of some 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. The severe thunderstorm warnings continue in Livingston and Oakland for 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Mariah, I would not go to sleep just yet. You still have these storms that are coming through your area. I know you said Port Huron as well, but Warren and Port Huron still not in the clear. Shannon, we do have a severe risk tomorrow, not on Thursday or Friday. There is a risk tomorrow, but I would say it's a very low chance of severe weather tomorrow. The next best chance of severe weather would be on Saturday. Ashley, Birch Run is in the clear. Mandy, Livingston County, Howell, not in the clear just yet. Alicia and Holly, you are in the clear. I know there's a lot of rain and lightning, but the worst of the storm has passed by you now. Kind of going back and forth between our live stream and the National Weather Service just to see what they're thinking when it comes to these severe thunderstorm warnings in Livingston and Oakland. As of right now, there's no signs of them canceling the severe thunderstorm warning early. Nick in Dryden, Lapeer County, you are safe. Mandy, Smallwater. No tornado, but definitely some wind to go along with that thunder and lightning. Johnny, yes, the storm is headed south and east, so away from us. I'll show you that on radar. You can see overall it's heading towards Lake Huron and also Lake St. Clair. Mariah, there is no tornado risk in Port Huron. Probably just some stronger winds that come in with this heavier rain and thunder lightning that's approaching. I apologize that you guys hear me typing. I'm just kind of getting a little bit of information out to my coworkers about where the most significant damage happened here in our area, especially where we have some of the more significant power outages that came with those stronger winds that moved through, especially southern Genesee and southern Shiawassee. Those look like the hardest hit areas, as well as Gratiot and Saginaw counties. Rochelle, not in the clear just yet for St. Clair. Oxford, you're pretty much in the clear. I would say the worst of the storms have now moved to your south. Michael, we did not see any hail in Genesee County. At least not that I'm getting reports of just yet. Christina in Sanilac, you are in the clear. Emma Welsh in Burton, you guys are in the clear. Absolutely, Johnny. Yeah, you know, we are starting to kind of get in the clear, so it gives me more of a chance to talk to you guys and any questions that you may have. Michael, happy to be here, happy to help. Crystal, the good news is the worst of the wind is now down to your south. I know you're just kind of getting hit by a lot of rain and lightning at this point. Paige and Lapeer, you guys are in the clear. Safe to go to bed and sleep for the rest of tonight. St. Clair is not in the clear just yet. You guys still have these storms that are kind of bearing down on you, so I don't want to give you the all clear just yet. Yeah, for those of you that are watching us, if you guys have any comments, questions, feel free to leave them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them for you. Good news is we're kind of getting behind the worst of these storms now. I know we still have severe thunderstorm warnings here in Oakland and Livingston counties, and our special weather statements here for Sanilac, as well as St. Clair and Macomb counties. But the worst of the storms kind of weakening at this point, kind of what I'm seeing. And I apologize for my sniffles. Allergy season is not too kind to me this time of the year. Also, Rochelle, I know you were mentioning St. Clair. There is maybe a little bit of rotation that's happening near Richmond and New Haven, so that's something I'm watching as well. That's why I didn't want to put you in the clear. Abigail, I would say that Lansing will be soon removed from any watches or warnings. Crystal, if you give me an idea of where you are, I can give you a better idea of if you're safe or not. You guys probably just heard the massive thunder that just rolled into our studio. Feels like a lightning bolt just hit right around us, so that was pretty intense. Mandy, thank you. I appreciate you. Crystal, but for the most part, I would say tornadoes, no. My apologies, clicked the wrong graphic. Just wanted to see where they still had our tornado watch box. One thing I'm gonna do is, I know that they have not been allowed to expire, but I'm gonna put an X, a red X, on where the tornado watch box is no longer needed, even though they haven't expired yet. No longer needed here in Huron County, as well as Tuscola, Sanilac, Shiawassee, Genesee, no longer needed under that tornado watch, as well as out here towards Lansing. So you can see all the X's, just where I believe they are going to soon expire that tornado watch box as these storms move on out. Nothing in Flint. Giselle, not yet in Port Huron. These storms are still approaching you from the west. Crystal, you are behind the worst of the storm, so Pontiac by Auburn Hills, you are good to go. No tornadoes. Fenton is in the clear. Chris? Yeah, Rochelle, I am looking at that area of rotation right now, so that's why I don't want to give you the clear just yet. They haven't put a tornado warning out there quite yet, but there is some rotation that is happening near Richmond in Macomb County. That would eventually move closer to you. So don't want to, give you the all clear and not have that actually be the case. So Giselle in Port Huron, Rochelle in Richmond, you guys are not in the clear, or should I say Rochelle in St. Clair, you guys are not in the clear just yet. Back to our severe thunderstorm warnings. Well, actually, good news. We no longer have severe thunderstorm warnings here. Danny, you are in Lapeer, you are in the clear. Owasso, you are in the clear as well. Rochelle, you're not under a warning, but I would just say over the next half an hour, just monitor these storms, make sure that there are no additional warnings that are put into place for you, and then you'll probably be able to go to bed safely and soundly. Same thing for you to Giselle in Port Huron at 2 o'clock. Just monitor it. I wouldn't expect any additional warnings to be issued, but for right now, good news is if you're still watching us, mid-Michigan is now in the clear of any severe weather for the rest of tonight. So we can all sleep soundly, and I'm going to make my way on home as well. Oh, but there is a tornado warning in Washtenaw County. All righty, everyone. So, if you are still watching us, everyone in mid-Michigan is in the clear. I know we had some comments from St. Clair County. I would still watch those storms, but I would say you're primarily safe probably by 2 a.m. So Brittany, the white is actually special weather statements. So that's one step down from a severe thunderstorm warning. So that means some 50-mile-per-hour winds are possible, but not up to the level of a severe thunderstorm warning. So no severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect. There is a tornado warning down here now in Washtenaw County that includes Ann Arbor. So if you know anybody there, we definitely have some storms that bear watching, but for Flint, we're in the clear. Coldwater, you guys are still under this severe weather risk. Actually, you might be out of the severe risk because Coldwater's right here. So you are out of the severe risk. Quinton in Coldwater, you guys are good. Troy, not good just yet. Lapeer, you are clear. Owasso, you are clear. Flint is clear as well. So these storms are primarily becoming a Metro Detroit issue. So all of us here in mid-Michigan, we are in the clear. So I'm going to put a post out that says mid-Michigan is now in the clear of any severe weather the rest of tonight. And we are going to wrap this Facebook Live and this YouTube stream up momentarily. Yeah, Gabriella, there has been a lot of thunder, lightning, wind, and rain here as well in Genesee County. So not surprised by that happening in Macomb. Janice and Algonac, you are in the clear. Chelsea and Troy. So let me actually, before I end this stream, take a look at Troy. Troy, I know you're getting hit by some pretty gnarly rain and thunder and lightning, but I would say you're in the clear. I would say you're pretty much fine at this point. So Chelsea, if you're still listening, still watching, Troy is in the clear as well. And guys, if you are still listening and watching, I want to thank you for being on our stream with us, making sure you're safe and informed. The good news is we are out of the severe weather risk now. I know some of us are still under tornado watches. Those are likely going to be canceled early. So everyone in mid-Michigan, Livingston, Oakland, at least in our viewing area, as well as the rest of us, Interstate 69, M46, up towards Saginaw, Flint, Midland, Bay, up towards Bad Axe, we are in the clear. Macomb, you are still under the tornado watch. I don't want to say you're in the clear just yet because you still have the storms in the area, some of which are rotating minorly. But, you know, you're starting to kind of get out of that severe weather risk. Johnny, my name is Eric. I am the meteorologist here at the station, and we do these streams anytime that we have severe weather. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for me on this stream. If any more warnings are issued, I'll pop in here. But I think we are done with any severe weather for the rest of tonight. Hopefully you guys have a safe and enjoyable night and day tomorrow. I know all of us are probably going to be in need of some coffee because of this late night, but hopefully some of us can sleep in maybe a little bit longer. So stay safe, have an enjoyable night. We will see you again tomorrow if anything turns severe.